For the love of games!
Hey everybody, this is Travis from PixelAttack.net, and you're checking out our Pixel Peeks of Evolve on the Xbox One. Now this game also comes out for the PS4 and PC, but this footage specifically is from the Xbox One beta that was released a few days ago. The full version will be available on February 10th, 2015. Now, we're gonna start looking right away at the monster, and as you might be able to tell, this is tutorial footage. Travis, why on earth would you show us tutorial footage? That stuff sucks and is boring. Well, it may be boring, but it also gives us a great idea for exactly how the monster controls, what he can do, and his moves, and this is what I want to highlight. The monster is so unique and doesn't even feel like he's a part of a first-person shooter game. I really enjoyed playing as the monster, and I felt he brought new life into a tired genre that I was somewhat weary of. As you might have been able to see there, what I did as the monster is I ate the animals that I just destroyed, which was disgusting and of questionable morality, but that's not why we're here. Those four moves are the four moves that the monster has: the rock throw, leap smash, fire breath, and charge. Not only are those the primary four moves the monster has, from what I'm able to tell, those are also the only four moves the monster has, which kind of left me a little bit disappointed. What I'm going to do now is showcase my leap smash. I'm going to tee this up and suck it! Now the leap smash functionality is not limited to making you look like a bamf. It actually is incredibly useful when you face off against the four hunters, because the monster has the ability to scale any peak, hill, valley, or mountain, which can make for a quick escape in multiplayer or a real cool looking leap smash. I'm gonna cycle forward into something a little bit more exciting as we're gearing up towards the end of the tutorial. Now if you didn't want any spoilers on the tutorial, man, you suck, and you need to reevaluate things. The tutorial is right off the bat. It's the first 5 minutes in the game, but if it makes you feel any better, there's not really much of a story mode anyways. You face off against the four guys called the Hunters, which if you've seen even any promotional footage for this game whatsoever, you're aware of, so I didn't spoil anything. Now, speaking of the Hunters, we're going to meet this colorful cast of characters that I'm certain are a lively bunch and will bring life to any party. So I'm going to hop up here, and what's this? There's their spaceship up there. Who's gonna jump down? Well, I'm telling you who's gonna jump down. It starts off with a Russian man named Markov. Now this is your typical Russian tough guy who doesn't have much of a sense of humor. This is his handy teammate, the medic, who will be your best friend. The support, this is Johnny Tough Guy over here with a big beard and a cigar that is constantly only a quarter of the way burnt through, and the Trapper. These four guys you'll have to eliminate, and the best way to do so is by isolating them specifically, or at least that's been my experience in the beta so far. Now when I filmed this, I didn't exactly have a strategy. I kind of had a run and gun, throw rocks all over the place, so you're not gonna get too many big tips if you're looking for that. But I have a feeling by now you've realized you've come to the wrong website if you're looking for big tips. Alright, so what we're going to see here is my monster trying to take out these hunters. Now I hope you're enjoying this, because this makes up 95% of the game. Actually, that's not fair. Probably 60% of the game is this. The other 40%, no, even that's not fair. Probably 20% of the game is this, and 80% of the game is looking for the monster in multiplayer. And I'll get to that a little bit later, but sneak preview, that was the biggest frustration I had with this game. But we'll get to that once we jump into multiplayer, which we'll do in a few minutes. Right now, let's focus on completing the single-player campaign. So you can see I've focused on Markov, and there aren't too many moves that are great when you're right in front of somebody else. There are fantastic moves for long range. You've got specifically the rock throw. Even the fire breath is pretty good, especially if you have multiple people right in front of you. Your monster's charge is another one that's ideal for opponents who are about 50 yards away. But as far as moves go with hunters that are right in front of you, you really have no choice but to spam R over and over again. And it certainly gets the job done, but just doesn't look too glamorous, which I guess is not a huge issue to have. So I took out their hunter. Now hunters can only be revived 3 times. So you're going to see that that happens a few times, especially in multiplayer. If your teammates are on the ball, they'll come to your rescue, but if you die 3 times, then you're gone for good. If you didn't catch it, the hunter that I just killed has been revived, so I guess I'm more or less back to square one. My health is running a bit low, but it's gonna be okay because I've seen the ending and I make it out alive. I got Hank, and this time Hank is actually dead, which means I'm down to 3. Now I'm targeting Maggie, who's the trapper, and again, it was around this point that I realized that targeting your opponents one by one if you're the monster is probably the best way to go, because now they have to choose whether or not they're going to revive or they're going to try to tackle me. Especially if I hang out near the fallen opponents, it's going to be pretty easy to control the battle from here on out. Markov, who's the primary assault guy, I was taking out, but if I get, oh look, he's back. Yikes, that was a game changer. But again, it's all moot because I do eventually win. Now the support is dead. Maggie is on the fritz. Markov isn't looking too good, and this is going to finish him off. The assault is dead. Wow. 2 left, 1 left. That's all, actually. There you go. The monster wins. To celebrate, how about a big sexy war? And as my uncle would say, look at those pearly yellows. Now we're going to jump ahead into multiplayer. Now this is the fancy little intro similar to what they do in Titanfall. It doesn't actually mean anything. You get some hilarious dialogue about grilled meats and a funny Russian accent from Markov. Let's hear it.
This is a good plan. This is the best plan.
Broken English. Hilarious. Alright, so now we're going to jump out like we do in Titanfall, and the game is going to begin. Now, a big part of the multiplayer at the beginning is to find the monster. I thought this was going to be kind of a fun event. It turns out it's incredibly long, somewhat boring, and even if you find the monster, it's pretty easy for him to escape. So I'm not going to force you to sit through the whole 20-minute multiplayer that I had to go through finding the monster and then having him run away multiple times. I'm instead going to show you specifically when we got to the monster and then kind of jump around a bit so the action stays exciting. I gotta say, one of the cool things that I found right off the bat is that it really seems like this environment is alive for a multiplayer match. You don't often see animals and beasts that can attack you in a multiplayer arena like you do in this. This is something where you can die just from the environment with no interaction from the monster at all, and to give you something to look forward to, that actually happens to me later on in this match. I get caught by a piranha, or sorry, a piranha plant. I don't know what the non-Nintendo term for that is. Anyway, so here are my teammates, and you can look them up on Xbox Live and harass them. The unverified rumor has it that their mother enjoys the company of younger gentlemen. Now here's another NFC monster that I was talking about that can totally knock you off base if you're not on top of the game. And this is a feature that I think is actually pretty fun and something you don't typically see in multiplayer matches, an environment that feels alive. Now you probably noticed that I skipped forward a bit. It's because we spend a really long time looking for the monster. There are a few ways to determine the monster's location. The monster tracks, which you may be able to see pop up in and out of the arena, but it's specifically these friendly birds that have just popped up on the top of the screen. Now what happens here is when a monster eats something or kills something, these birds will swarm to the beast it has just killed to devour it. These birds give away the monster's location and are super important for you if you're a hunter, because it's almost impossible to find the monster otherwise. Now, of course, I found the monster here, but it's because I cut probably 10 minutes of footage out so that you didn't get too bored of me wandering around this giant environment. Now that we found the monster, I'll give you a heads up. I immediately get confused here. I think I probably forgot I was the assault, but I quickly reorient myself and we're soon back on track. Now, I thought that when you encounter the monster that this would be finally, you get to have this epic battle. You'll see I go for the lightning gun, which disarmors him, and I've set up my own shield using RB, which is why he took a few slashes out of me and it bounced right off as if it was nothing. Of course, Fire is not as good against a shield, and you can see I'm burning and in incredible amounts of pain. Thankfully, I have a healer. Unfortunately, the healer didn't bother to heal me. But hey, Travis, I thought we were just in a giant battle. What happened? Well, the monster escaped, which is something you will find happens often in the multiplayer and can be incredibly frustrating if you're a hunter. You can search around for 10-15 minutes for the monster, you can finally find him, only for him to take a few swipes at you and then escape, and it leads to another 10-15 minute hunt where you're looking for this monster just trying to get some action going. Again, this takes an incredibly long time, so I'm going to skip ahead to parts that are a little bit more exciting. But to make a long story short, my teammates and I wander around the map finding everything from plants to Venus flytraps to monsters, except not the monster, just the tiny monsters that have no bearing whatsoever on the final outcome of the match. Hey look, we've warped forward in time to something that is possibly going to be exciting. Unfortunately, you don't have this luxury when you actually play Evolve, and thus need to barrel— oh wait, no, this isn't the monster. This is just something that looks like the monster. Never mind, we thought it was exciting, but it's not. Oh wait, apparently the monster's up top somewhere. I think we can see it. Maybe we are getting close. Now, finally, this is the excitement that we've been looking for. Again, I can't reiterate enough. This game has the premise to be awesome. Oh no, the monster's gone. This is what I'm talking about. This game has the premise to be awesome. The idea, the 1 versus 4, is really, really cool, and it's so much fun controlling the monster. Even being the hunter, knowing the giant thing you're taking on is another character, it's like playing Dragon Age or Monster Hunter, except the monster you're hunting is somebody else on the Xbox. This is such a cool concept, but instead the multiplayer has been primarily, at least according to the beta, and I want to make that amendment because it could change before the final game, but this has been primarily a game of hide and go seek and not a first person shooter, and it's too bad. So anyways, I'm going to give you the heads up because I've seen this footage before because I lived it. Now we're finally at a place where the monster is, and you get to have this giant battle, which is something that should have happened probably about 15 to 20 minutes earlier in the game. Or at least, once you finally find him, don't give him the option to run and escape for another 10-15 minutes. As you can see, I'm trying to use my gun here to disable the monster's armor, but he's already taken out one of my teammates. I'm thinking this is because the monster is a giant Pixel Attack fan and somehow saw the beginning of this video where I suggested you isolate team members one by one if you're the monster. Now once again, I'm on fire and my teammates, the odds are stacked against us, and unfortunately this does not end up being the Cinderella story of 2015 as we get killed. The monster just took a giant swipe at me, I flew through the air and am already fainted, or at least I need help is what I should say. So I'm stuck here, my teammate's gonna try to revive me, but it's not gonna work, and instead the monster is going to claw at me until I die. The end. Now, of course, what could happen, if you've played the multiplayer before, you'll know this, is up in the top left corner, you'll see this timer. If 2 minutes transpires, I can drop in from the same ship that I dropped into at the beginning of the match. But unfortunately, I'm going to spoil it from you right now. That doesn't happen because the monster destroys all of my team and ends up winning. We'll wrap it up here for this edition of Pixel Peaks for Evolve on the Xbox One, but there are a few things I want you to take away from this. First off, Evolve is really, really awesome in the sense that it changes up the first-person formula and even to a degree changes up the monster hunting formula because of this multiplayer 1v4 mentality. That being said, the multiplayer is incredibly frustrating at times as it often just turns into a game of hide and seek instead of an actual fight. For more videos, articles, analysis, and some bad jokes, and hey, even a podcast, check out pixelattack.net or tweet at us at pixelattack on Twitter. Thanks a bunch, everyone, and happy gaming!